Can you tell me about your and Sidnee's relationship?
Well, we got along great till puberty. Then it was the don't touch my stuff, I hate you, fall off the face of the earth kind of thing. Like,
Typical teenage sister.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But, like, we got along great unless I was on my period or she was on her period. Then we absolutely did not want to be around each other.
Sure.
But other than that, got along great unless she was trying to take my stuff and we were fighting about chores or something.
So let's talk about Sidnee and her disappearance. Her disappearance is what everybody originally thought it was. Mm-hmm. Where were you when you were notified of her disappearance?
I was at my boyfriend's house.
And who's your boyfriend?
Chad Bennett.
Okay. Last time you saw Sidnee?
The day before. The day before that she went missing, I'd seen her because I came back from camping.
Okay, and what time was that?
I got home at like between 11 and 11:30 in the morning.
And then how long were you and Sidnee both there at the house?
Yeah.
How long?
I got there at 11:30 and I came back at about between 3 and 3:30 and I left about 3:30.
So then you're at home about noon.
Yeah.
Then what proceeds from there?
When I got home, when I got home, my mom asked me if it was me in the house. I was like, yeah. She's like, have you heard anything from Sidnee or heard anyone that knew where Sidnee is? I was like, no. She's like, I was told, which is one of her friends, that Corbin had seen her up at that lunch thing, the free lunch they do with one of the churches here. They had seen her up there. And she's like, and I went up there, and one of the ladies that was working there, they'd seen her walking uptown about 7 o'clock in the morning by the high school with a lady that looked like she was about her late 20s, early 30s. She's like, do you know anyone that Sidnee would know that's that age? I was like, no. I was like, I don't know names that with besides Carly and Jessica. And she was like, okay. And she's like, do you know? She's like, has anyone been on her MySpace or anything? I was like, no.
So you would go and check on MySpace?
Yeah, we were checking on MySpace every day to see if she'd gotten on.
Okay.
Because the last time she ran away, she kept getting on MySpace and making contact. Okay. And after a few days of her not making contact, that's when we thought there was something weird about this, something not right.
When did you think something was weird and not right?
Probably about Wednesday. Over that plastic dresser, and there was paper scattered all over the floor. That her money was still there and all the shoes were still there. And she's like, well, this is a little weird. She's like, but maybe she just had the intentions of coming back. Tuesday, I do believe, was the day that we'd noticed the drag marks. Because that's whenever we called the police station and they had Murray come down here. Murray's like, well, it's just a chair. We can drag across the rocks. But I was just like, well, that really doesn't explain drag marks in her bedroom.
Was there a chair that had been moved?
The chair, yeah. There's a green chair that I had to stand on and hang laundry up on the hooks outside. Mm-hmm. And usually it's on the deck, but it was in the colored rocks.
And why was it there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because my mom had showed it to me. She was like, come here. I was like, what? She's like, look at this chair. I was like, what about it? She's like, it looked like someone was trying to climb out of the house. I was like, so do you think that she snuck out? She's like, yeah. She's like, I think, so going downstairs, she came up here and went off the deck.
Did you guys ever talk about Sidnee?
He had asked if we had found anything out. And I was like, no. I was like, we haven't found her or anything. He was like, are you looking for her? I was like, yeah. I was like, we're trying to see if anyone's seen her or not. I was like, but we haven't, seen her. And he was like, oh. He's like, well, I hope you guys find her. He's like, because your mom's already taking this hard. I was like, yeah. I was like, just a little bit.
Was he nervous?
Mm-mm.
How long have you and Chad been going out?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. I mean, you in love?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Chad. There's Chad and Carl. Well, there's Carl and Robbie. And what's the other boy's name? James. Chad's pretty good friends with these three boys?
I know he's good friends with Carl, but James, he just met. Apparently I've known James since I was little, but I don't remember it. I've ever known James. Whenever my dad moved back here, James was always over at his house, and that's how Chad met him. So it had been over years he met James. And then Turtle just moved here, and he met Turtle a couple months ago.
Okay. So what's the deal with this? Explain this gang to me that they're all in.
I have no clue. I find it stupid, and I told him that it's stupid because if you're not living in a town of 5,000 people where the majority of the people are prisoners, you don't have a gang.
Okay. But they classify themselves as a gang.
I'm not quite sure. I think something happened with the cops, and the cops started calling it a gang. Someone told...
There'd be us, and there'd be 3 people that were up above the rest.
And when you say us, who would be us and the 3 people that are above the rest?
Me, Carl, and James were the 3.
And so is that 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
You're number 1 because you're the OG.
Because I started it,
right.
Yeah. And then after me came Carl, and after Carl came James.
So the order would be 1, 2, and 3 then?
Yeah.
Top, bottom?
Yeah.
And
Now, say it did turn into a gang,
Oh, yeah.
and you were the leader of the gang. You were the OG.
Yeah, I know.
And some of your guys really got into it, didn't
They were all really loyal.
they? Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but they're just kind of like dogs, to be honest. I mean, they were
Like what?
like dogs. You could tell them to do something, they'll do it. But I never did.
But that's
I mean,
the point, though.
that-
And that's the point of a gang is you're the leader, you have your soldiers or people that below you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell them to do something, it's just like in the Army, they're supposed to do it, isn't that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And Carl was really into that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
And James was really into it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Dave's probably the most loyal person we had.
So James, when you saw your mother, is that when you decided you wanted to go ahead and talk to the police?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't do this with my mom. I love you.
I love you, baby. Come on, we gotta do this. We need to do this.
Okay, James. So you want to talk to us now, right?
Yeah, is there any, I do, but
He's scared.
You either want to talk to us or you don't want to talk to us. Okay?
I'll talk. Talk.
You know, what we want is 100% the truth, okay?
Well,
No matter how difficult it
that's
is.
why I've already tried to protect her once. I'm done.
Okay. And when you say try to protect him, what are you talking about?
Carl,
Okay.
you 100% sure
When you
he's
say
a guy
Carl-
who can't harm me.
When you say Carl, who do you mean?
Carl Dane.
Did you hear his question?
No,
You
No.
100% sure he's in jail and he can't harm me.
yeah,
Yes,
he's in jail.
He's in jail. He's
And
been
he can't hurt you.
No,
Okay.
he's in isolation.
Sunday, that 18th, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sunday the 18th.
The whole day I've been drinking wine that I had left at home, and I got a little bit of tequila left, so I've been drinking all day.
Who were you with?
Me, Carl. That night Robbie came over.
And whose house were you at?
Carl's grandpa's.
Out in the country?
Yes.
Okay.
And Carl was driving. He asked me if I wanted to go somewhere. I said yes, and Robbie came too. And he told us on the way what he was doing. And he said if we ever talk, we were dead.
Okay, then what did he say? He told you what we were going to do. What did he say?
He told us that we were going over to take Sidnee. He told us we were going to. And he had the gun down his pants, a .22 pistol. We went to the house, checked the doors, they were both locked.
So who all went to the house?
Me, all of us, me and Robbie.
Okay.
Robbie was to look at Carl said. Robbie and Carl lifted me up and made me unlock the doors and wake up said.
So lifted you up to where?
The patio.
And where'd you go once you got on the patio?
I unlocked the door, the front door.
How'd you unlock the front door?
The patio was unlocked.
Well, so it was unlocked. Are you
Yeah.
talking about a regular door or a sliding door?
The sliding door was the patio.
Yeah, so it was unlocked.
Yes, and then I went downstairs and unlocked the downstairs basement door with the Sidnee's room. I grabbed us so Tracy didn't wake up because if Tracy woke up, Carl was going to shoot her. I wanted to kill Tracy.
How did you know that Carl was going to shoot Tracy? If
He
she
told us before we walked in. He said, "No, leave no witnesses."
So you're in the house and you go down and let them in,
Uh-huh.
and what happens next?
Carl points the gun at her and makes me wake her up. At first, she asked me what I was doing, and she knew who me and Carl were both because she goes James and Carl. She said our names, and she's trying to yell for Tracy. I didn't want Tracy to wake up because if Tracy woke up and came downstairs, Carl was gonna shoot her.
So what happened? What to stop that from happening?
I jumped on her so she'll be quiet and put my arm mouth, and then Robbie came over and helped me.
Is she on the bed or where?
Yes, she's on the couch thing.
Okay.
I asked her to be quiet. She started walking, and I taped her hands up, Carl told me to, and I started taping her mouth when she ripped it and started yelling, "Mom!" I had to stop her because I didn't want Tracy to die.
I was by the door. James went to put some tape around her mouth, and she took it off and stood up. And I guess thought it was a joke because she just stood up like normal and didn't act like anything was going on. And then Carl had the gun pointed at her, and that's when she kind of flipped out, and James grabbed her, and they wrestled to the ground and everything. And Carl walked over towards me and stood by me. She was kind of out wrestling him and everything, and Carl told me help him. And I went over and I put her in a chokehold.
Show him.
Like, and she went unconscious. Carl said, "Get her outside." Me and James, I don't remember who had what end or whatever, but started to bring her outside. Right after we got out the door, she woke up again. And he said, "Put her in it again." James ended up putting her in a chokehold and kept it on her for quite a long time.
What happens next?
He put her in chokehold again and held it for several minutes. And he stopped, checked her pulse, and there wasn't one. James said, "Go get the car."
Okay, now this is the important part we're talking about. What happened while he was going to get Dakota?
Carl sat there, smoked a cigarette.
So she's unconscious now, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even dead, right? So how did you guys get her to the car?
Somebody took an arm or a leg and just lifted her up and drug her.
Somebody.
Yeah, so, one of us took one arm, another guy took another arm, somebody took the legs.
So then why were pants down?
Well, I wasn't, I was walking behind them while they were dragging, until we got to the creek. And that's how the pants got down.
So you still say that the pants were pulled down?
She woke up halfway down the creek, and so I just walked 2 feet, away, smoked a cigarette.
What do you mean she woke up?
Like, came to.
Okay, so she woke up halfway down the creek. And why did you walk away from that? Because they had sex with her?
No, somebody, choking her, so I just walked. I didn't think I went to, smoke a cigarette.
So who choked her?
Robbie was at that time.
And did anybody shoot her out there?
No.
Okay, and when you choked her this time, did she stay choked? Never woke up again?
No.
And how do you know it was Robbie that was choking her, not James? Because it was dark, wasn't it?
Because I could tell the trench coat from all clothes.
Is there a reason Carl, James, and Robbie did not like Sidnee?
Robbie, I do believe, never knew Sidnee. James, from what I have heard him say, he was getting mad because Sidnee was apparently going around spray painting stuff and blaming it on him and Carl. And Carl, him and Sidnee dated during spring break, which...
This year?
Yeah, which I think would have been the first weekend.
Why would these three... I dated her for 2 weeks. She accused me of spray painting, and I don't know her at all. Why does that warrant someone being murdered?
I don't know. I think because they're dumb, probably. Because honestly, I think Carl threatened Robbie.
What would you want Chad to do for you? You know what, hon? I've got 2 sisters. Grown up in a household. Let me talk. Grown up, there's going to be a lot of argument, okay? I argued with my sisters. I still do. We love each other very much. Sidnee loved you very much. Don't you think she was scared that night?
Yeah.
You've got to tell us what happened. You know a lot more to this.
Dakota is backed into a corner, both literally and figuratively, and the detective has easily gotten her to break.
I can tell you some things that I heard in and out of.
Okay, what did you hear in and out of, hon?
There was one day, it was me, Chad, Carl, and James on the car. Me and Chad were in the back seat.
What day was this?
Wednesday night,
Okay.
21st.
Okay.
And me and Chad, we were in the back seat. Me and him were talking because the 31st would have been here to go get my dog back.
Okay.
So I was talking. I was like, do you want to go with me to put flowers on Nikki's grave? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And I was like, okay. And then I could hear Carl talking.
You heard who talking?
James and Carl in the front seat, because I don't think Chad was thinking you Chad was having the conversation. I was listening to theirs. And I heard Carl say, what did you do to her? And at first I thought they were talking about someone that James had been with. And I was like, I could only hear bits and pieces.
What bits and pieces were you hearing?
I heard James say, tied around the only thing up feet.
Okay.
And then I heard Carl say, not good. Because he said something before that, and he was like, not good. And James was like, if someone finds her, they can call the cops, and then we get caught.
I want you to ask me one thing. I don't want you to answer me very honestly. Why did Chad order the murder of your sister, Sidnee?
He ordered it?
Why did he order that? Why did he want her killed?
He ordered it?
Why did he want her killed?
I don't know. Did he order?
Why did he want her killed?
I didn't even know that he wanted her killed.
Answer my question, Dakota.
I really don't know.
What if I told you that the people you named off were out there that we have interviewed, and you guys all discussed Sidnee?
I do not remember.
Let's don't go there, Dakota. Let's don't go there. Okay?
Okay.
It's time you start being honest. I'm tired of this. It's warm in here. You've got to start being honest with me. You guys discussed Sidnee that night. The conversation between you guys.
I'm trying to think because I don't remember. What was that? The only thing I can remember was Carl saying something about a gun and how he shot someone.
Okay.
It's the only thing I can remember.
And what did Chad say?
I can't remember.
No, you do remember what Chad said, and that's what we need to discuss. What did Chad say about Sidnee and the police?
I can't remember what Chad said.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard.
Because all I remember was Carl told me that he said that if you tell anybody anything we talk about, I'll kill you and make it look like Chad did it.
Okay, but Chad said something about the police not looking at any of you. What did he say?
I think he said that the police weren't helping.
Okay.
Because he had asked me if the police were being any help, and I was like, no, I was like, the police aren't much help, they're just saying he's a row, and I think that's what he had told me.
And what else did he say about the police?
I can't remember what else he said.
That he said the police were not looking at them.
I don't remember that.
You got to think.
I'm trying to think, but...
You think right now. You've got to do this for Sidnee and your mom.
Stuff that they talked about, I blocked out after Carl told me that he would kill me and blame it on Chad.
Do you realize that Sidnee will never have some of the opportunities that you had?
Yeah, I know.
Was Sidney still in school?
She was going to be a sophomore, I think. Possibly, I don't know.
Sidnee's not going to get to graduate.
She said she was never going to graduate.
She's got a lot of milestones. She had a lot of milestones left in her life. You realize Sidnee's never going to get married.
I know. Me and my mom talked about it.
Sidnee's never going to have babies. You will never have any nieces or nephews. You have to do the right thing for your sister. She had a lot taken away from her. Your mom had a lot taken away from her. And you had a lot taken away from you. And now it's time that you stand up for Sidnee and nobody else. And you've got to start protecting Chad. Chad's not protecting you. Chad hated Sidnee, and Robbie just didn't know her.
I didn't even know Chad hated Sidnee. He never said anything about it.
But he wouldn't tell you, would he?
No.
But, and that's what I don't understand. You guys are in love, and he's not telling you anything. This is not an equal 50-50 relationship. I want to hear the whole story Carl told you the night at his grandpa's on Friday night.
Okay. He said that he had broken into my house, and then he had done something to Sidnee. I said, what did you do? He's like, all I can say is that she was shot. And I was like, okay. And he was like, other than that, he's like, I can't do anything else. I was like, well, who else knew about this? He's like, I'm not telling you who else knew. That's why. He's like, if you tell anybody, he's like, I'll kill you and blame it on Chad.
Why didn't you tell this to the police when they interviewed you? How did Carl say he got in your house?
He never said how he got into my house.
How do you think he got in your house?
Now after I'd seen the chair and the way that it is and all that, I think they went through the deck, or he went through the deck.
Why did you unlock the door?
I didn't unlock the door.
Okay, your mom says the day before she's doing laundry. She's washing blankets. She hangs them out on the deck. She goes out later on. She gets the blankets, carries them in, and she specifically remembers locking the door.
What door?
The deck doors.
Let's get over the hump, and let's talk about this door. Let's get this door out once and for all. You hear me? Once and for all. What did you do to that door? Tell me. Huh? What did you do?
He told me to unlock it, but he just said...
Okay, look at me. Take your hands away from your mouth and look at me. What did he do?
He told me to unlock the door, but he never said lock.
And you unlocked the door.
So you're telling us, what are you telling us as far as what your knowledge is about the door being left unlocked when you were asked to do that and you did it? What did you think was going to take place?
They were just going to scare her.
Okay, so that's what you're saying. It's not that you knew for sure they were going to go in and do it and kill her that night.
Which meeting was this?
I don't know. I don't remember what days we had, what days that they had.
Was it before? Before or after? Was it before or after she witnessed it?
They, we, you said we had meetings, they had, no, let's not go there, okay?
Day I wasn't.
Yeah, but you said we had meetings, and you've been at these meetings, correct?
Yeah.
Now, you're at different meetings. They're plotting. You know, you brought out the first time we knew that they were conspiring to kill your mom. What was talked about if your mom woke up? What were they going to do to your mom if she woke up when they were doing this to Sidnee? I need you to tell me what they said they were going to do to your mom.
Chad told me that they were just going to shoot her if she had woke up.